Hi, this is Ursa Renee, back again with episode 3 of How Deliverance Became My Ministry. So when we left off, I mentioned that, I had an exchange with my supervisor. I accepted a position at a new finance company. I wasn't necessarily receiving training. At one point, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I've given a 2-week notice. Can I go back to my other company? Um, there were a lot of different thoughts in my head. I have no divine revelation. I'm just thinking, this is a great company, and what I'm tasked to do, I would enjoy it. Ultimately, as time would go on, I would enjoy the work that I was tasked to do. Even when I got there, I accepted it because these were things that I enjoyed doing and wanted to do. I would say for a lot of people who work in a work environment, if they don't like it, or it's oppressive, or it's difficult, or they have high blood pressure, or they have to take time off, it has more to do with the people than the actual work that they're doing. I mean, for some people, you could just be doing something you just really hate. But for the most part, oftentimes it's there's someone there or a group of people there that's making it difficult for you. And that's why you really hate the job. And so what happens here is, as I'm trying to get settled in, I'm in what will be our new area that the team will sit, but I'm there first alone. So there's a lot of communication via phone or email if I have questions. And it's someone's birthday in our, I guess, the setup of the team. So I mentioned there's a manager, and there are 2 people alongside her that she knew from a prior company. Then there are 3 other people. They knew each other from that prior company as well. So I'm coming in as, we call it a new hire off the street. So I don't know them from the prior company. But there's another young woman who is going to be an internal transfer to our team. She also worked at that old company, the other finance company. So she's coming in. She's still working in her old department, but she eventually will be seated. We all will be seated in the same tower, in the same department, once everything gets moved around. There's another young man that they hired for our team, but he's in Florida. So he's obviously a new hire off the street. So he wouldn't know them from the prior company. And it's funny because he would be there about 5 years like I would. He would get fired, which is so odd. He hung in there. And I'm going to tell you, I think it's because he was in Florida when I look back on it. But they gave him the blues. So let's get started on that. Somebody's birthday is approaching. It is the manager's birthday, and it's decided that we're all going to go out to lunch. Now, I'm fairly new. The girl who is an internal transfer, I haven't spent a lot of time with her because she's coming from another team. And so I'm going to tell you, okay, so this particular girl is a Black girl like me, and the team is a mixture of a lot of different things, but there was one older Black lady, and then there was the new transfer. So she's Black like I am. Everybody else is something different, right? And so I'm mentioning that, I think, because I don't know necessarily how significant it is at the time. And I'll tell you why, because demons don't care about color. We leave to go to lunch together. And we get in different cars. And it's interesting because the older Black lady, we're thinking it's 7, 9 people. We could take 2 cars. And the older Black lady is insistent on, well, now I'll just drive my car. Like, people are like, why are you going? Like, so they're telling her, why? I would probably understand later, no telling what this woman had gone through. When she was just the only Black person there on that team, who knows? But she's like, I'll take my own car. She said, I'm going to tell you through that lunch, travel there to in the lunch, coming back. This lady said very little. But we end up in the car with the older Black lady. I'm there with the internal transfer, who's also Black, and myself. And I think the supervisor's in the car with us. It's one other person in the car, and I think it was the supervisor, because I think the other girls who are like her side people, they wanted to make it seem like it was a surprise and go ahead of us to the restaurant to get things set up. So it's probably 4 of them already at the restaurant. So we get there, And I noticed, well, even before we get there, the supervisor is giddy. Like she's met a new man. She met him online and she's like, she's telling us all these details, right? I can still remember so while her face looked older, her body looked young. So she was used to dating really younger guys. Like I remember her saying, yeah, like, the other guys, one of the guys I dated, he was like, oh, you went to high school with my mom. They're smitten with her and was like, you ought to come over and meet her. And she was like, oh, no, I remember her from high school. From high school. Like she was used to dating younger guys, but she had met this guy who was affluent, had money, and he was her age. And so she was giddy. They had just met, and he was throwing this big thing for her over the weekend. With her family and all of that. He was sending all the ladies on via limousine to a spa, and he was just rolling out the red carpet. He had just met her and whatever. And so she was giddy talking about it in the car. So yes, she was in the car with me and the three black people. So, which older black lady, she's saying nothing. She's been with these people the whole time and she's saying nothing. The other black girl who's in, let me give her a name. Let's call her Kim, right? That's nice and common. So Kim, I guess since she sees that the supervisor, whom we basically only been working here a month, is super talky and giddy, she starts talking. And she's saying, I'm naturally private unless I feel comfortable with you. Unless we connect, I'm naturally private. So I noticed Kim just starts talking. Like if the supervisor told a story, then Kim felt like she needed to top it. Oh yeah, so normally, my child's fathers, I remember her saying this, I normally like light-skinned men, and so like my new boyfriend is nothing like what I normally would date. But yeah, so we're like she starts to tell all these personal details. Like if the supervisor told a story, she told one. And I was thinking, okay, do you know us like that to be telling us about your child's father and about this, that, and the other? And this would be significant. Because when you're dealing with spiritual warfare, I'm going to tell you, the enemy will use everything that you've ever said. The less you talk, the better, unless you know who you're talking to. But we will resume this in episode 4.